Okay, so let's do the chanting straight away. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Tatiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from the happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every types of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddhist way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soham. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soham. Tayata Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasamgati Buddhi Soha. I hope everybody's well today. I'm seeing my mother on the screen here doing something that she probably shouldn't be doing. So I'm going to go out just to the living room for a second. She gets a bit confused on the computer on occasions. I'll try to make this not a weekly occurrence. Okay, Mum? Don't make it a weekly occurrence. You were always in on Skype. Okay? You just press something and another screen thing came up. So then Mum was trying to sign back in again, but she was already in. So anyway, so apologies for having to leave for a moment. But last week, Mum probably didn't do the last little press, to get in, because she actually didn't sign in last week, and I thought she had. So she said, "Why didn't Leanne let me in?" I said, "Obviously because you didn't sign in. You didn't go through the process. It's a last little process thing, So she was in before, but now you're finding a new way, aren't you, Mum? This aging doesn't come by itself, does it? We find some things more difficult in the hands, get a little bit shaky. And even myself, I'm not obviously a lot younger, but I'm not as steady as I used to be, as strong. I actually spoke to an old friend who used to come to Dharma classes many years ago. He's actually a classical musician from Russia initially. And I spoke to him for the first time probably in about 10 years, maybe. We played some music together almost 20 years ago. And like I said, he used to come to the Dharma classes. And he basically said, "Oh, so how are you keeping?" And I said, "Not as strong as I used to be. A lot more wrinkles. Um, just getting older. All of us getting older, aren't we?" His name is Valery, actually. So hopefully Valery can take part in the Dharma classes on Zoom even, as I mentioned them to him. Okie dokie. So let's do some meditation now. Now that I've done shown my technical prowess. Did you actually see me doing that as well? Sort of my head coming in the side and okay. So anyway.
Yes.
Okay. So I think somebody made a noise then. Make sure that you're muted. Okay, so anyway, meditation time and then Dharma talk continuation time. And so bring your mind inside your body. So get comfortable first physically. And bring the mind inside the body. Start from the bottom of the body. Work your way up, releasing the tension as you go. So let's do this in silence very briefly. I won't give the instruction on different parts of the body. You can do by yourself today. Work the way to the tip of your head, top of your head. So now scan your body again just to see if there's any leftover tension. And if there is, release it. Now bring your focus to the tip of your nose initially and follow the feeling of the breath as you breathe in your nose all the way into the lungs. And back out your nose again. So follow the feeling of the breath. You can also use the extra technique of counting the breaths from 1 up to 10. And if you get distracted on the way towards 10, go back to 1 at that time. So if any thoughts arise or mental activity arises, don't cling to it or grasp at it. Don't try to force it away or deny it either. But simply and naturally replace your mind back onto your breath. And as you do so, let go of these activities and thoughts and the like. And if your mind becomes dull, wake it up a little bit by refocusing on your breath more brightly. Breathing in and breathing out. So all we have to do now, physically, is breathe, mentally is place the mind onto the breath and replace it if you get distracted. So let's practice like this for a little bit. So now we can feel pleased with ourselves and fill ourselves with the universal loving kindness, utilizing the visualization technique of filling our whole being with the white light. Universal loving kindness includes friendship and goodwill, forgiveness, acceptance, and harmlessness and non-violence, respect and gratitude, and so on. Compared to the English language, it's a multifaceted word, metta or maitri. And really feel yourself full of loving kindness. Fill yourself with so much loving kindness that it now overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, family and friends, and fills them with the universal loving kindness as well. So the white light, you radiate it out from your heart center, entering into the heart centers of all the beings in front of you. filling their being with the white light, the universal loving kindness. Have the wish that they are happy, free from suffering, and are peaceful. And now also include strangers, and do likewise. And also enemies, and do likewise. And now let's radiate our loving kindness out to all sentient beings, not just the human beings now, to all of the sentient beings that live on the land, under the land, in the waters, fly through the air, whether born from wombs, eggs, moisture, or through transformation. Whether in this realm or the realms that we're aware of or ones we're not aware of. Maybe we kind of have inferential knowledge about them, and other ones that we don't even know are there at all. So around your immediate area, initially, to all the sentient beings here, radiate your loving kindness. And now throughout your whole state or county. And all of the states and counties throughout your country. And all of the countries throughout the world, as well as all the oceans and other bodies of water, down to the core of the earth and to the outermost atmosphere. Now radiate your loving kindness throughout the whole solar system. And the whole galaxy. And the universe and beyond, until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space. Whilst also being present here and now to recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata, not yet born, rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Okay, so we'll continue the introduction to these Zen teachings. Numerous Zen teachings. There's two more parts of the introduction, and the first one says, so like last week we did the part that said embodied scripture. Today we will do embodied teaching, and next week we'll do this land is the pure land, and then the week after that is we start to actually do the actual teachings. The first one, pretty sure all of these come from Master Bodhidharma. And then saying Zen is not reliant on the written word, a special transmission separate from the scriptures, direct pointing at one's mind, seeing one's nature, becoming a Buddha. So we'll have commentary on that teaching, and then we'll continue, throughout the book. Sometimes it will only just be one teaching per class, other times maybe a few. Once again, beautiful picture of His Holiness Dalai Lama. Very young. I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago was his, 91st or 92nd birthday. This one here, I think, he may be in his 70s still. All right. Embodied teaching. The teacher in this tradition, rather than being uncooperative, as he sometimes appears to be, is actually quite compassionate. To provide a student with simple or straightforward explanations in a conventional manner, no matter how valid, would only reinforce the student's counterproductive habit of looking for wisdom outside of him or herself. Thus, the ideal teacher would not only seek to embody or manifest Buddha mind openly in his own behavior for the sake of the student, but he would seek to jar the student back into his or her own mind. The role of the teacher, then, is not to give the student knowledge, but to put them on track in the only place they can discover wisdom, that is, in their own minds. What is important in these anecdotes is, first and foremost, not the content of what a master says, but how what he says forces the student back into his or her own mind. The angry response brought forth by Yizhong's splashing ink on a monk's forehead revealed that monk's mind in action. This is known in Chan literature as direct pointing. Just as striking a student, grabbing him by the nose, or shouting at him induces an immediate response. Words used in a demonstrative way can potentially do the same thing. Words used to convey information rarely call forth any such response. So basically, yeah, we can give teachings, working off scriptures or working off teachings like this. And I guess we say helping the student to know the purpose, why we're practicing, and then to know the methods to be put into practice, and then to practice. And sometimes we need to, because I think we have too much pride as human beings, and of course pride can go many ways, can't it? It can turn into arrogance, can turn into low self-esteem, can turn into unhealthy competitiveness. It can turn into jealousy, envy very quickly. So we have this pride. I want to know, me, I am me, and I want to know the truth, for instance. This wanting to know stops us from knowing. So it's said here that the Zen masters would shock, in a way, the student to going inside their own mind. So maybe say something that seems totally irrelevant, or even irrelevant. And like the koans, like unanswerable questions. What is the sound of one hand clapping? If a tree falls in the forest, can you hear the sound, type of thing? Who is it that is hearing this teaching? Who is it that is seeing this computer screen? Asking yourself that question. Who is it? Immediately, we go back into our own mind. Rather than just listening to a Dharma talk, good information, good methods to be learnt, and how to put them into practice. But actually, sometimes we just need a little bit of a bang. That finger snap. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe that made you go back into your mind. Because that's where the knowing is. You realize your own wisdom, even though there is no you, no wisdom, nothing to be attained, nothing that can be attained. In a sense, we're unveiling our own wisdom. And so the masters, I guess the Zen master's job it's not really a job, but is to help the student to waken to the true nature. What else did it say there? So on occasions, it may seem really, really weird, the responses, but it's all there to help the student get to know their mind, relative mind, therefore knowing what to abandon and what to adopt on the path, and eventually the ultimate mind. Once again, just using those words for convenience. At this point, wide-sized, chubby little monk interpreter in Zen Speaks appears at the end of each anecdote to inform us in a simple and direct fashion what message we should take from the incident. Wouldn't this be defeating the purpose of these anecdotes? By turning performance into information. Yeah, so basically, I just share with you, you probably can't see that, but maybe you can. At the end of, like, there's the teaching, the anecdote with the pictures, and then there's a very brief explanation of the teaching there. And he's calling the chubby little monk guy down the bottom. Okay. Just thought that wasn't so clear. I will take pictures of this, okay? And then when we're actually getting into these teachings, and then I'll actually put them up close to the class day or on the class day, so that you can, for those of you who are on Facebook, you can actually have a look at the teaching. But once again, I do encourage you to actually get the book, if you can, okay? Maybe it's easy to access on the computer even. Maybe you can, there's a digital copy you can just have a look at, maybe even print yourself things or save it onto your screen, onto your computer. So what it's saying here is basically, with this explanation, it's, it takes it away for a little bit from the simple and direct fashion of what the message is, and then it explains a little bit more. But we need this. We need a little bit of some words, some meaning behind the words, so that we can understand the teaching as well. Not too many, hopefully. So I'm just going to read that again, and then continue onwards for the next 2 or 3 paragraphs. The alert reader may ask at this point why Tsai's chubby little monk interpreter in Zen Speaks appears at the end of each anecdote to inform us in a simple and direct fashion what message we should take from the incident. Wouldn't this be defeating the purpose of these anecdotes by turning performance into information? On one level, the answer is yes. Simple as a point of history. However, our monk interpreter is doing exactly what Chan teachers have done for generations, and in fact still do today: comment or give lectures on Chan anecdotes. Practically speaking, this is not so misguided. Just as most modern world citizens, whether in China, Japan, or America, or anywhere, are unfamiliar with the bulk of Buddhist scriptures or teachings, so most Chinese over the past 1,000 years, whether because of illiteracy or lack of exposure, were unfamiliar with much of the doctrine underlying their stories. The success of these anecdotes depends on intimate familiarity with knowledge of scripture left unstated. But that is nonetheless common knowledge. So we do need the scriptures, even though we say this is beyond scriptures. We need the scriptures so that we can get to learn the finer details in everything. Once again, the relative get to know the relative truth and how to practice the Dharma. What's the purpose of practicing the Dharma? To unveil the truth, unveil your true nature. And then the methods to be put into practice to realize this, and then how to practice these methods, and then to actually do it. So we do need Dharma talks and commentaries, whether it be written in a book or something like that, or whether it's spoken in a Dharma talk, or recorded, audio, or video, things like that. We do need this to get to understand, like I said, the purpose, the methods to be practiced, and the means. So, like I said, the success of these anecdotes depends on intimate familiarity with the knowledge of Scripture left unstated, but that is nonetheless common knowledge. As in many jokes, the laugh or jolt comes when the punchline collides with that unstated but accepted knowledge. On the other hand, monks, by virtue of their monastic training, would normally have been familiar with the issues raised in the anecdotes. In fact, may have thought of raising those issues themselves, and hence would have less need for such informational aids. So yeah, once again, the familiarity breeds eventually knowledge. First of all, inferential knowledge, and indirect knowledge, then direct knowledge, or wisdom, I'm pointing to here. So we need to become familiar with something, and then look for or search beyond just the surface understanding to penetrate the true meaning of the teaching. And whether that be in the anecdotes, whether that be in a big book, whether that be just Dharma talk, or in what appears to be nonsensical answers to questions. What did you have for breakfast today? The mountains, the trees are green, is the answer. Did you go to the toilet this morning? And the flower is beautiful. All things related. This helps you to go into your own mind. I just made those ones up right there and then. But it makes sense, doesn't it? The fact that it's nonsensical helps you to go beyond expectation of wanting an answer that you're familiar with. So then give an answer that you're not familiar with. The birds are in the trees. Are the birds in the trees? What are the birds? What are the trees? And who is it that's hearing this teaching? And what was your original faith before your parents? That's a common one. Ask these questions to go deep and penetrate beyond the normal, we've got like 5 minutes to go, so I'll finish this one now. Whereas most monks wouldn't have needed the informational aids provided in commentaries, the fact that many read these anecdotes with the intention of shortcutting the process of grappling with them is repeatedly confirmed in the literature. Their misguided strategy was to memorize the demonstrative responses made by successful predecessors, and to mimic or parrot those responses as a means of demonstrating their own embodiment of the teaching. That these strategies were doomed to failure seems obvious, yet much of what passes as individualism today is nothing more. One might go equally wrong in focusing only on the meaning of the anecdotes here. So we need to be able to utilize these so-called anecdotes and the teachings therein, utilize them in our everyday life. Don't just like have them be like a book sitting on a shelf, you know. Utilize the information in the book in everything we do, whether that's washing dishes or having a meal or preparing a meal, then eating a meal, drinking water, which I'll do now. Mindful drinking. And, no matter how mundane these activities are, we should be practicing the Dharma while we're actually engaging in them. So next week is the 25th. See, done it again. Just like last week, writing my little reminder in front of you, helping you to be in the moment with me. And so we only have less than 3 minutes to go. So I'll say up front now that I rejoice in your studies, your practice, and your sharing of the Dharma, sharing of your good vibes, and rejoice in your meritorious goodness. Rejoice in whatever level of love and kindness you have developed, and in your future perfection of this immeasurable, and your future perfection of great compassion and joy, your equanimous mind that we do have. It's fragmented at the moment. We don't have it all the time. We have biases, we have attachments, we have aversions. So we work to diminish them, to lessen them, and eventually eradicate them. And obviously increase or accumulate and increase good qualities. And eventually go beyond all of that. Realize the supreme wisdom, or unveil the supreme wisdom. Remember that right now we can remember that the great compassion, bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, once it is married with the supreme wisdom, then this is perfect enlightenment. This is the ultimate bodhicitta. So how do we develop this bodhicitta? By developing these 4 immeasurables that I just mentioned. Also practicing the paramitas, generosity, morality, patience, effort, concentration, culminating in the supreme wisdom, the prajna paramita. Prajna paramita, perfection of wisdom, is what makes the others perfect. But we need to practice the others to develop this bodhicitta, relative bodhicitta, both the aspirational and the practical. So we need to practice like this, but also we need to penetrate beyond the ordinary worldly understanding of things. So hopefully the commentary on these teachings in this book can do that for you. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sangham.